Queen, that lean and indefatigable agnostic, has ever become involved. The early mysteries in the Mayhew case were trivial, mysteries merely because certain pertinent facts were lacking, pleasantly provocative mysteries, but scarcely savorous of the supernatural. Ellery was sprawled on the hearthrug before the hissing fire that raw January morning, debating with himself whether it was more desirable to brave the slippery streets and biting wind on a trip to Center Street in quest of amusement, or to remain where he was in idleness but comfort, when the telephone rang. It was Thorne on the wire. Ellery, who never thought of Thorne without perforce visualizing a human monolith, a long-limbed, gray-thatched male figure with marbled cheeks and agate eyes, the whole man coated with a veneer of ebony, was rather startled. Thorne was excited. Every crack and blur in his voice spoke eloquently of emotion. It was the first time, to Ellery's recollection, that Thorne had betrayed the least evidence of human feeling. "What's the matter?" Ellery demanded. "Nothing's wrong with Anne, I hope." Anne was Thorne's wife. No. Thorne spoke hoarsely and rapidly, as if he had been running. "Where the deuce have you been? I saw Anne only yesterday, and she said she hadn't heard from you for almost a week. Of course your wife's used to your preoccupation with those interminable legal affairs, but an absence of 6 days. Listen to me, Queen, and don't hold me up. I must have your help. Can you meet me at Pier 54 in half an hour? That's North River." "Of course." Thorne mumbled something that sounded absurdly like, "Thank God," and hurried on. "Pack a bag, for a couple of days, and a revolver. Especially a revolver, Queen." "I see," said Ellery, not seeing at all. "I'm meeting the Cunarder Caronia, docking this morning. I'm with a man by the name of Reinach, Dr. Reinach. You're my colleague, get that? Act stern and omnipotent. Don't be friendly. Don't ask him or me questions. And don't allow yourself to be pumped. Understood?" "Understood," said Ellery, but not exactly clear. "Anything else?" "Call Anne for me. Give her my love, and tell her I shan't be home for days yet, but that you're with me and that I'm all right. And ask her to telephone my office and explain matters to Crawford." "Do you mean to say that not even your partner knows what you've been doing?" But Thorne had hung up. Ellery replaced the receiver, frowning. It was stranger than strange. Thorne had always been a solid citizen, a successful attorney who led an impeccable private life and whose legal practice was dry and unexciting. To find old Thorne entangled in a web of mystery. Ellery drew a happy breath, telephoned Mrs. Thorne, tried to sound reassuring, yelled for Juna, hurled some clothes into a bag, loaded his .38 police revolver with a grimace, scribbled a note for Inspector Queen, dashed downstairs and jumped into the cab Juna had summoned, and landed on Pier 54 with 30 seconds to spare. There was something terribly wrong with Thorne, Ellery saw at once, even before he turned his attention to the vast fat man by the lawyer's side. Thorne was shrunken within his Scotch-plaid greatcoat, like a pupa which had died prematurely in its cocoon. He had aged years in the few weeks since Ellery had last seen him. His ordinarily sleek cobalt cheeks were covered with a straggly stubble. Even his clothing looked tired and uncared for. And there was a glitter of furtive relief in his bloodshot eyes as he pressed Ellery's hand that was, to one who knew Thorne self-sufficiently and aplomb, almost pathetic. But he merely remarked, "Oh, hello there, Queen. We've a longer wait than we anticipated, I'm afraid. Want you to shake hands with Dr. Herbert Reinach. Doctor, this is Ellery Queen." "Do you do?" said Ellery curtly, touching the man's immense gloved hand. If he was to be omnipotent, he thought, he might as well be rude, too. "Surprise, Mr. Thorne?" said Dr. Reinach in the deepest voice Ellery had ever heard. It rumbled up from the caverns of his chest like the echo of thunder. His little purplish eyes were very, very cold.